Perfect. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's live stream. This is part of Metaverse Fashion Week in Decentraland. As you can see, the community is already logged into Decentraland. They are hanging out, ready for our streams to get started. So if you're listening in for the first time, hi, I'm Kim Courier. I'm the head of partnerships and marketing here at Decentraland. Decentraland is a social virtual world, as you can see by all of the avatars here. And we are just excited to have an amazing conversation today. Our panel is called Co-Creating with AI, How Designers and Algorithms Are Rethinking Fashion. We have our resident expert, Pedro, here. He will do an introduction. We also have Masta Waynes here on the Decentraland side with me as well. And we will talk about how our community and we are also using AI in our creation and fashion and wearables in Decentraland. So Metaverse Fashion Week is a 4-day event. We are here on day 2. This is our final panel of the day, but everything will be repeated starting at midnight UTC. All right, let's go around the horn. Pedro, can you introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. This is the first time I am a guest speaker here at Metaverse Fashion Week. The first time I joined, it was as a community manager, like a couple of years ago, as a community manager at the Fabricant. So thank you so much for having me. I am Pedro Guez. I am a Paris-based Mexican-born creative, and I am the AI-generated film category curator at ASVOFF Film Festival here in Paris. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to dive in. Big fan of the Fabricant over here, and I know the Fabricant has been involved in Fashion Week in the past, so we can dive into that as well. And Masta Waynes, you want to do a quick intro?
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure I own some Fabricant wearables.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, yeah.
You have a very great backpack.
Yeah. No, but like the Fabricant wearables specifically, I think are like exceptional. Like the quality of the wearables are exceptional. So I'm like very excited to hear that that's your background. But I am the resident social goblin at Decentraland. So like the social media I handle. I don't know. Kim, you're my boss.
Everything.
You describe what I do. Yeah. But like, I mean, Decentraland, I joined the Decentraland Foundation. Now it's been like 10 months, I think. And it's just been amazing to see the culture of fashion. I think we have a very unique fashion culture in Decentraland, very focused on like collecting, very focused on like self-expression. So, and a lot of people I know use AI as a way to like prototype. So I'm excited to chit chat about that.
Yeah, that's a great starting point. Pedro, I would love to hear from you what you're kind of seeing in how creators and yourself, you're using AI currently to augment that traditional fashion design process and where it's really proving to be like most impactful in that process.
Well, personally, I am currently developing Arcadia Black Sheep, which is an anime project that I will present in November. And well, my best advice for creating fashion films, whether AI assisted or not, is that the creator must have something meaningful to say. So without a strong story or storytelling, the result often feels empty. Together with Gigi, who invited me here as a guest, a speaker, and other students at IFM in Paris, we've noticed that even with little to no technical experience with AI, powerful storytelling can carry a project far. So I also highly recommend studying cinematic language, like framing, camera angle, rhythm, because understanding how to communicate visually is essential in this space. So yeah, I mean, it. I I've seen like I've reviewed the projects of so many students and creatives like from all over the world, and they're like amazing, like the evolution that AI has had like in this like couple years, like from last year to today. It's like a big, like jump in terms of tech and evolution in general. So yeah, it's really exciting.
When you say the like jump, sorry, Kim, can I like jump in real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, when Pedro, you were saying the jump in AI, the example that like I always think of is the Will Smith spaghetti, like how that like the image of him eating spaghetti, like I don't know, 5 years ago, we were like, oh my God, this is crazy. But like if you go back to that initial image, it's so cursed. And
Yeah.
like the images that people are generating with AI, like going back and revisiting the prompt of like Will Smith eats spaghetti, like now the imagery is so realistic. So it's I mean it's been like what, I don't know. It's crazy even in the past year how much of a jump forward we have made.
Yeah, and I think it's also like very interesting to point out the fact that just for example, Metaverse Fashion Week and all these like projects that have been like that we've seen like since pandemic, maybe those are part of the books today. So it's part of the history of digital fashion and tech fashion, right? So if we look back and we, for example, this spaghetti, it's just like watching the Toy Stories film from Disney in the 90s.
Right.
So at
It's so true. Yeah.
the beginning, it was, I mean, it was the very first like 3D film, fully 3D film generated, created, produced by Disney, and everyone was against it. But you watch it and you can even cry. So if we with that like logic, we look back to what we could create with AI like last year or even 2 years ago or three. I mean, it's part of the history of AI. So maybe not today. Maybe today we are just like against, like, or not against, but we can criticize like visually the aesthetic, right? But maybe in 10 years from now, we all will look back and we'll say like, well, that's how it all started, and that's important, and it's a treasure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think thinking about honestly 10 years, forget it. Like looking back 6 months, I'm like,
Exactly.
that is not good. And now I'm like, wow, I was judging it so harshly because of how fast things evolve in this space and how impressive technology can be. I mean, we launched Decentraland back in 2020 and just rebuilt the client this year, in October, and relaunched it. And everyone's like, oh, why are you relaunching? And I was like, do you know how much tech has changed between 2020 and like the end of 2024? There was so much that the team wasn't able to do in a world where people, and Dana, I know you can walk around to show them what's possible, but like it's all built side by side in Unity. And that wasn't possible back then. And to be able to do that now, that it all could load in one space and you can see, everyone here where we're streaming into a world and we're talking live. It's wild to think about what's possible. And so we joke when we're saying like, how do you envision the role of AI, which we'll get to at the end of this space, but it's so hard to imagine and to see where it's coming from. I would love to ask you about like some of the trends or like best practices you're kind of seeing in AI as someone that's developing in that space that you try to stick to. I know there's so much about AI and ethics and who's the creator and who owns the IP. And as that kind of overlays in the fashion world, kind of how are you navigating this? Because it's evolving, we're flying the plane as we're building it. So how are you kind of navigating that perspective from a creative side?
Well, we all can say that the basics, I mean, they are not like sponsors, but I will mention a few. Like, it's a classic now just to use like Midjourney and Runway, right? Those are like the classics. Like, even people with no experience at all, those are the ones that will be like, they will be exploring those two especially. But I mean, in terms of like authorship from experts, I've spoken with one of the most effective ways to address these concerns is to document the human input throughout the process, like sketches, storyboards, and the full pre-production phase are essential to demonstrate the originality and authorship of the project. Showing the creative intent behind a generative image or video helps establish a clear human narrative and protects like intellectual like value. So yeah, I think that human touch is also important to demonstrate, to show after the result, right? So that's the only way we today 2025 we can like testify that we are like the mind behind the result, right? Because maybe, I mean, it's not that bad, but maybe you can just like create a I don't know, a teddy bear, but you in your mind you have like another reference, and the teddy bear that you explore and now you have, thanks to AI, this tool. I mean, maybe it's not better, but it's way too different, and maybe that's the one that you expose as yours, and it's not true. So maybe it can be part of your creative process and how to explore more ways, right? But I mean, the point here is just to demonstrate and just to have like your own sketch, like your human touch is there, like the original idea was yours, like you were made by a human. I mean, today 2025, that's what I would suggest.
Yeah, totally. I think that idea of like, I say the future, my role isn't going to be taken by AI. My role is going to be taken by a really good AI prompt engineer with creativity. Yeah. And so it's going to be someone that brings their creative ideas, puts them into an AI and says, okay, here's my idea. Here are the original inputs. Now here's what I want you to do. And that output is still like your creative idea, but you have to acknowledge where it's going to be influenced, where it may zig when you wanted it to zag, and how you continually edit once you see what comes in to really fit your vision.
Right.
So we'll see. I'm curious how that starts to play out. I know we've been using like AI for fashion for a few different ways. One is with partners when they're saying like, I want to create a wearable in Decentraland. And we say to them, great, like, what do you envision it to look like? And they may not be the most technically advanced to like do a mock-up for us. So we'll say, use ChatGPT and like, or any AI tool and like get your mock-up as close to possible using like a Decentraland style. The AIs are usually fairly familiar with our like low poly, but high end kind of gamer look to the aesthetic, and like come up with something you're excited about. And then we'll go to our designers and say like, okay, can we do something like this? What would this take? How would we do it? And using it as a reference from people that maybe don't have those skills. I actually was doing it with a client today, so it was really fun. A partner.
I was gonna say, Kim, like I've also heard people doing the opposite of like, for wearables. What did we do before wearable? All about wearables for that competition. I had 2 people that submitted that gave ChatGPT the like assignment, which was the exotic theme. And they asked ChatGPT to spit out like several different wearable ideas, and then they took those ideas and they made wearables from them. So like instead of starting from like, can you make me a reference of this thing, saying like, what do you think do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, so I've also seen people use AI in that way for wearables in Decentraland.
Well, yesterday at IFM, we had this conversation with Sidney Toledano, CEO at LVMH, and he was emphasizing like the relevance of AI and digital technologies in shaping the future of fashion. And he even expressed like excitement about the idea of seeing a designer like John Galliano at Dior using AI to push like that creative part of the maison. And from what I observed, AI is already like proving highly impactful in areas like visual research, mood boards, advertising. So it was like really exciting to see like someone like him like saying and expressing like the importance of these digital technologies today. So these big houses are not close to AI at all. However,
That's actually surprising to me.
Yeah, I mean but I mean, I think it's, I mean, honestly, personally, today, I think more appealing, like the fact that an independent designer can create like this huge storytelling of these independent designers and creators all over the world, not only from like the classic like fashion, right, like the traditional, also digital fashion, because creative comes from that missing part of maybe you don't have like a big budget, right, to create like a production just like a Dior or a Louis Vuitton can these big maisons can produce, right? So storytelling is also important again in terms of communication and business models. So yeah, I mean, it's a thing. AI is here and it's exciting.
It definitely is, for sure. And I love, like you had said, that smaller designers have additional tools that can help them get them closer to reality and closer to creation. I think the ability to, I love to use AI as a like strategic counterpoint of, I wrote this strategy or I did this thing. What would go wrong? And I'm curious if you're seeing like fashion
That's so
designers.
quintessentially Kim.
But I'm curious if fashion designers are also kind of playing into that of like, I'm designing something in this way. Are there things that would not work from a production standpoint, or that wouldn't work on a fit of a model of this type? Are we seeing that happen in the fashion world too? The like question on fit and production, not just the design side?
An example, what could it be?
Like an example could be someone is working on, I don't know, a like very complicated piece with multiple types of materials.
Right.
And they're trying to like put different patchwork. I'm going to say something so basic because I'm not high end fashion, but like patchwork of different types of materials. Could they then ask Chat GPT or another AI tool to say, I want to make a dress of patchwork of these types of materials. Here's how I'm thinking it could work together. Like, would there be issues in putting these materials together in that way? Like, are they going through it with that type of thinking from a production standpoint?
Well, from my experience, I mean, I'm not a fashion designer, but what I've seen with my classmates and with other students or with friends who are like really like they are like fashion designers, it's like during their creative process, it's not like you just can change and you are just like you can like step back and say like, well, now I will go to ChatGPT and ask for their advice. So it's more, or they use them, or they use artificial intelligence or these digital tools at the beginning, or they never use them.
Got it.
Right? So, which is great. I mean, AI is there, but you don't use it. That it doesn't mean that you're against like the digital revolution. It's just the fact that in that precise, like in that day, you didn't have the you didn't want to use it, and that's it. So yeah, I mean, I think it's up to the creative process, and I think it's up to every creator. Every production is different. Talking about like film, for example, during the first edition of our artificial intelligence fashion film category at ASVOFF, I was like this was like an open submission for all of the curators and film directors, like from everywhere. And I was like, well, if you use AI to create the script, or if it is part of the production or the pre-production or post-production in editing or the music or whatever, I mean, you your film. However, I mean, yeah, it's great. I mean, there are many ways in how AI can be applied in film production in general. However, today, during our third edition, which is coming in November, and you girls have to come and
Of course.
attend, please. It's at our street market from November the 13th to the 16th. Well, now it's more like, okay, we already watched what AI was capable of like 3 years ago. We don't want that Disney characters anymore. We all know that AI has like evolved, that you can like really, you can like transmit, you can transfer, you can communicate that thing, that specific idea that you have in mind. Of course, it's just like a film production. Maybe you are not the one who can create the best prompt, right? Even though all of the information and all of the classes, let's say, is out there in the internet. I mean, if you just go YouTube, and there are many tutorials on how to use like prompts properly.
Yes.
Or on Twitter, on X. I mean, there are many great AI artists that I follow and everyone knows, right? They are like sharing knowledge like every day about like how to implement like AI like properly and how to create like this great imaginary and create. I mean, everything is there. So excuse to create and to work not only with AI but with connect with others, because we must remember that this Web3 and this future that we all aim here in the Metaverse Fashion Week, right, is through co-creating. So co-creating is a key word from 2020, thanks to these spaces like Metaverse Fashion Week, and thanks to creators from all over the world, and thanks to creatives, just like everyone who is here attending tonight. Like I see some like many great like outfits, right? So we must remember that we are really privileged to be here tonight, like 2025, just to say that, well, I have the chance, the privilege to go or not to go to the Metaverse Fashion Week. I mean, come on, 2025, and you can say,
I know. It's wild, right? It's funny when you say co-create. Dana, can you open your backpack? Is that working for you easily? What's so fun is like looking at all of these pieces created by creators, right? Who started either, you know, with their own idea and never used AI, or used AI to like take it a step further or bring it to life in Decentraland. It's just so cool to see the range of creations that come to light. We just finished like 20 minutes ago, a runway that was wearables around the world. And so the community created any wearables that represented their heritage. And so I know we're showing some here, a flamenco dress, I forget what it's traditionally called, but the fruit hat, some beautiful cabayas. And it was so fun because a lot of these people had never created before. And so it's so awesome to be able to see tools that allow people to be creators and fashion designers, which is like such an aspirational, creative
that's the
job.
future that I want. Like I want a future where like, because I feel like specifically with fashion, it's been so closed. Like to break into that industry, it's like so hard. And so I think something that excites me about like digital fashion specifically, and then also new tools that people can use, like AI co-creation, like what you were saying, like it just opens up the industry more to people that like maybe don't have the financial like they don't have the money to go to fashion school, or maybe like they don't have the connections to break into the industry, or like, but people now have so much, there's more space for people, I think, with like the emergence of these new technologies. So like when you're talking about like that's the future that I want people to be able to create things based on like their personal drive, rather than like the opportunities in front of them.
It's true, it's a democracy. So digital fashion and Web3 is all about democracy. And
Mhm.
I was there. I was attending the fashion show like 20 minutes ago, like before the talk. And I mean, that's fashion, like heritage, innovation, right? I mean, and
Mhm.
storytelling and creation, creativity. That's something that we all celebrate today and during these 4 days, even, right? So
Mhm.
I think that's what fashion is about. And I mean, come on, it's so great to see all these co-creations and creations and garments that people are wearing here during this amazing space
Yeah.
you guys are like hosting,
I think
right?
the storytelling is so important too. Like you don't just create a piece to create a piece. Like you're inspired by something, it's telling a story, it's bringing a part of your heritage, it's bringing a part of your personality. I mean, as you can see on the screen, there's like someone with a crown in the back, there's this puffer jacket, there's a flamenco dress. Like there's so much happening to bring out that um fullness of kind of who you are as a person and how you want to present yourself, that I think is so fun. And while we're talking AI, I think that ability to use AI too as a way to say, upload my picture, but show me different looks on me. I think Doji, have you played with the Doji fashion app yet? DOJI, where you upload your picture and it like changes all your outfits and styles you, and it's really well done. But I think being able to also use it as like a styling tool is such a fun way to incorporate it into the fashion industry. Would love your thoughts, Pedro. It seems like you have something to add there.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the whole concept of digital identity is really important. My background is in
Mhm.
psychology and it's applied in
Mm,
fashion. So 10 years ago, there was not like digital fashion as we know it today. I mean,
mhm.
maybe we all played The Sims, but
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All the people here were definitely playing The Sims. Yes.
I mean, The Sims is always like a current, like a subject, like a topic here within
Yeah.
the Web3 people, right? So, but yeah, I mean, the whole thing on how we can build like our own digital identity, our
Hmm.
own digital person. I mean, we already do. I mean, even maybe our family, right? I mean, once you upload a picture on any social media, that's your digital identity. But
Hmm.
now, to the metaverse and thanks to these spaces, right, you can personalize even more that whole experience and that perception from yourself to the
Hmm.
world. I mean, it's all about perception and identity and that creative part of you to express yourself. So that's
Hmm.
important. I mean, to express yourself today, 2025, in a space like this, in which diversity is there, right? I mean,
Hmm.
this is, come on, this is the way to be.
We've had people too say like digital spaces are where they're able to be their truest self because they can express
Hmm.
themselves more freely than like in the physical space that they're in. Like maybe it's not so friendly to how they express themselves. So I think it's like increasing, it's only increasing in importance.
And maybe
Hmm.
consider as you say, it can be considered as a little goal, right? I mean, maybe by creating here in the metaverse, for example, I will talk about myself like super quickly. Like here in the metaverse, in the Centraland, I have my avatar, my digital identity has spider legs. So I'm a huge fan of horror. So if you see, I wear a spider brooch here. So that little
Amazing.
that little goal, it helps to build a self-esteem, right? Because
Hmm.
must remember it's built thanks to our goals, right? We all have
Hmm.
goals since we were a child. Like when was the first time you started to walk? What was your first word? Those things are like small goals. And if we have that thing in mind today, as an adults or kids or whoever you are playing here or being part of the Metaverse Fashion Week, you just have to be like to remember that to express yourself through digital fashion and its co-creation of garments or,
Hmm.
skins in general, I mean, it should be also something to celebrate in the physical world because the
Hmm.
physical identity that you're building it's most and is already seen not only by people around you, but also digitally. So I think that should be also considered, like to build and to remember that we are like here, and we are beyond, and we all have to express ourselves everywhere,
Mhm.
all the time.
That came up. Yeah, it came up in a panel. I'm like,
I was
was it
literally
yesterday?
gonna say
Was it this
this.
morning?
Yes.
I'm like, which one was it?
We contain multitudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was that one, but it's actually both panels. That was definitely one where like we contain multitudes. You show up in the world in different ways depending on where you are, was one. But the other one I was thinking about was when we were talking about self-esteem, and maybe in the physical world, you're normally super traditional and like you're not confident enough yet to like go a little wild or a little bolder, a little brighter. But you do start to do it in a digital world. You see people's reaction to your style, and that can build your confidence in your physical world to maybe try a little bit more. I think it was GLITCHOFMIND who unfortunately couldn't join today, but he said I'm pretty sure it was him in our panel, said one of his friends had asked, if there was no judgment in the physical world, what would you wear in public?
Mm,
And he said
that's
he
such
thought
a good
about it a
question.
lot, and he said, I'd probably wear a skirt because it feels so free on a hot day, like versus pants. But like where I'm living, that would have been judged. And so I probably wouldn't have done it. But like, what would you wear if no one knew who you were or it didn't matter? And how do you show up in that space? And he said it really made him think a lot about like, what do you choose to wear when you want to? And I believe it was him that said, then he was like, maybe I should wear like, why don't I? Why do I care? And I just thought that was really cool to think about, and how your parallel could come from. Like, Dana, would you wear those green pants in public? You probably would, and I probably would, but like some people may not.
I was literally going to say, I have those green pants, but I have, it's it's a checkered pattern, but it's like an orange instead of a,
yeah. So like, but like I in the physical world, like I've never dyed my hair. Not once, not any kind. But in Decentraland, like I change my hair color all the time, and I think it's so fun. And I'm like, God, I wish I was like brave enough to do like purple hair in the real world once in a while. But it's not as easy to make like a hair color change. But with like,
you to that.
Oh no, our next offsite, Dana's coming with like hair dye packs. But I think it's really cool to see people try it out and just see, or use a fashion AI tool to say, this is what I look like. What would it look like if that shirt was neon orange? Or what would I look like with purple hair? And just start trying.
I'm like chomping at the bit to say something, because you're saying something here, Kim, that I think is also like really exciting to me, which is like AI like challenging the norms of like how we think of garments. Like so often when I'm prompting like AI to do something, and if I want it to like, if I want to push it to imagery that like I on my own can't think of, it helps me in that way. And I've seen so many like AI fashion creators challenging the norms of like, you know, the not just like the garment, but like how the model is like posing in the garment, or like just challenging these like things that have been stuck in like very traditional ideas. And so I think I'm like really excited. I am wondering if there will be like an AI fashion subculture of like,
I think so.
Like we'll have a very distinct footprint, like cyberpunk subculture or like goth subculture. So like I'm waiting for like the AI fashion subculture emergence.
Yeah, and Dana, I mean, I think the way, Pedro, I don't know if you ended up seeing this, but one of the things that's so big with digital fashion is not only collecting the pieces, but how do you style the pieces together to create like a look that's uniquely you? And one of the things we did leading up to Fashion Week, that Dana did with a community member, Toxic Waifu, who has insane style. Toxic, if you're there, come up to the screen. I'm sure you're there somewhere.
Yeah, she is.
She's there. You'll find her. But they did a fashion showdown, and like, Dana, explain how you trained the AI and like how it worked. But it was so fun.
I trained the AI on Tyra Banks,
Yeah.
and also like I didn't get approval for this, so I'm hoping like this is okay, Tyra. So like trained the AI on like Tyra Banks and America's Next Top Model, and so like Toxic and I were feeding pictures to the Tyra AI, and we were getting
Yes.
like tips on like how we should have styled better, or like sometimes she'd be like, "Oh, you went too far. You went too far, and now it's like campy. Like you didn't nail the like." So it was just very, it was very, like trippy almost, I guess is like the word. Yeah, it wasn't a person, but it felt like Tyra. So, oh, Toxic is here. Hey, she. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Kim, like, what did you think of
I
the.
was just saying it was so cool because they put together and they were like, okay, we're gonna do a style. Let's both style cyberpunk. Go to your
Yeah.
backpacks. What do you have? Make your cyberpunk, and then uploaded the two pictures to be like, who won the cyberpunk theme? And then they did another theme and another theme, and I was just like, to
Right.
me, that's a fun use of AI to say like, we're gonna bring our own unique styles, and then we're gonna bring a fashion judge in to be like the non judgment, it's a judge, but like the non-partisan judge here, and say like who won, and like make it like a fun style and saying give us feedback, who did better, why, like how did we style it, and just made it like a really really fun competition. As you can see, Toxic there is changing her looks left and right. The girl crushes it.
Right.
So it was just a really fun execution of using AI and style to like give feedback on how you pair things together. And who is that next to talk? Oh, Rishi girl, amazing, looking so good.
I love that digital styling, because at the end of the day, it's like a like to create like a gallery, right? Because you
Mm-hmm. Oh,
that that thing that you want to express, like you know where to get the wearables from. Maybe you already know like a
mm-hmm.
specific word, right? It's just like the creation of that style. So that's interesting, and it's creative, and it's a beautiful way to express yourself as well.
Yeah, totally. I think it's been so fun. Okay, so Pedro, one of my questions I ask every guest that we have is, what is your digital style and how does that compare to your physical style? I know you're in world often. So like, what's your backpack look like? What type of stuff are you collecting and why?
I would love to share my screen, but I mean,
You don't have to share your screen, but you could just tell us like, what do you typically like to collect?
well, I have these spider legs in the central end. I love them because it's like not like pants, not like shoes,
Mm-hmm.
but something that I cannot be in the physical world. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I am.
And now the horror element is like sinking in.
I love it.
You don't like spiders?
No, that's why I'm like, oh no, like you're the one. I saw like a spider running around the runway before, and I was like,
That was me.
you know
It
who
was
else
him.
has
Oh my
those?
God, there you go.
Toxic waifu has them too.
I love it. And like, what made you do the spider legs? And how did you find them? Did you know, or did you have someone create them for you, or did you just happen to find spider legs?
No, actually, they're in the marketplace here on the central end,
Yes.
and I mean, I purchased them. They were too great, and I was like, "Oh, I need them." So I also
I
wear.
love how that's how we all feel when we see something. We're like, I need it.
I
Like, I
need it.
must own.
I need it. Yeah, that's the word, need. And
Yes.
also, I wear these wings, which were like showcased like a couple of years ago.
Oh,
David
Dave,
Cash,
there you go.
right?
She just put the legs on. Do you see her, Pedro, on the screen?
Oh,
I
always
love it.
like you will always find your tribe, or eventually
Yeah, yeah.
will find you in digital and physical. I mean, that's why I could live in the metaverse forever. Like, I mean, the
Hmm.
have to eat, right? But I mean, here in digital, the people you meet, right? Just like Gigi, just like other friends. I mean, I was back in Mexico. I'm from Mexico, and I was like, well, I know digitally know all these creative people and
Hmm.
connect, and we have like had experience together. all like digital only. But thanks to those experiences, just like this Metaverse Fashion Week, who say maybe tomorrow you can like meet that person in real life, and I mean distance doesn't matter. Distance doesn't exist as long as you create this real like relationship, this real like connection with someone, right? Just like tonight. I mean,
Yeah.
what else?
It's so fun.
I
It's
love
so
the
fun.
trailer.
Somebody was saying,
It's so fun.
like back in the day, they were just comparing friendships from like pre-cell phone, pre-internet to like the internet era, and how like there's been like a transition. Like you used to have your closest friends be like physically near you, and now like in the digital era, we have so many of our best friends that like live far away from us. Like you were saying, like traveling to Mexico and finding your tribe. I think that that's like a very this era of the internet and digital world's experience.
I mean, back in 2010, I mean, I was like this MySpace persona.
Yes.
So it was not about like real connections. It was just about followers, right? And thanks to MySpace, I must say, I learned how to do the HTML coding, because that's
you were coding the little like characters.
like your profile. Yeah.
Yes.
So today, I mean, I think the Metaverse is just like the extension of that foundation. I mean, not talking about MySpace, of course, but that logic of connection. Because here it's not like, okay, it doesn't matter if you have like Sam from UK, right?
Right.
It's like real connections, because something beautiful from the digital world and the digital community is that everyone is creating. Somehow they're there support. Either if they are like community managers, either if they are creators, either if they are like managers. Who knows? I mean, you can create connections here, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's just about fun and again, to have the chance, the privilege to be here in this digital world, digitally seen. I mean, today, 2025, I mean, you guys should create connections, all of you here in the Metaverse Fashion Week. I mean, it's a huge opportunity we all have today.
And that's funny, because that's been an interesting conversation around AI, of like people populating worlds with AI bots and AI digital twins and all of that. And we've been talking a lot about this topic of like how much of Decentraland is filled with AI versus real people, what scenes are being created by creators versus AI. And it's such an interesting conversation. I keep saying I want a world filled with people, not their agents. I don't want to be talking to a ton of people's digital twins. I want to be talking to them and having these real moments and these real connections where I can say, hey, Toxic, put on the spider legs, and they go do it. And then like that kind of connection that comes from being able to like speak and hang out and meet each other and have those moments together.
Yeah, but I mean, why not to talk to an AI agent? I mean, today, I mean, I think it's up to everyone. I mean, AI is here. Even, I mean, you can enjoy having a conversation with AI, or maybe you prefer to talk with a human. I mean, but also there's something else important. If you are a creator and you use AI, and suddenly you take not 1 or 2, maybe 3 weeks to create like a fashion film, for example, and then you run into these like kind of comments out there, let's say AI shouldn't be there, AI is like not art. I mean, you are not like a real artist. You are not like, I mean, who says you are not an artist? If you use AI as one of your tools, I mean, it means that you are part of today's world, and you are aware that this thing like exists, and you know how to use it. That's it, right? It's not to replace. I mean, this is another huge conversation, but I mean, it's just like Photoshop, I guess.
Well, it's like we said before, like it's your creation if you created the right prompt. Like how you say build a waterfall is not the same way I say build a waterfall. And that is creativity of how it comes to life and what the final output is. And so if you're an artist, you are creatively thinking and telling it the vision you want. And if all three of us did it today, we would have very different outputs. And so that creativity is essential part of that process for sure. I completely agree. And I think we have creators that are building their scenes completely with AI, and they're still creators. They are bringing a scene to life and they're making it happen. I'm all for the like AI is a tool, learn to use the tool to bring out the skill set maybe you don't have, or maybe make your process faster and more effective and efficient, and think through how can it be a better output across the board, as long as you are doing so ethically with your own IP, that type of stuff as gut checks along the way. But we've used, I mean, AI music, AI visual effects in World all the time. And I think our content team makes that. And I'm like, I wouldn't have been able to make that. That's really, really cool. And the artistry that comes out from it is 100% artistry. And I think that's what a lot of the debate has been. Like, is it artistry or is it tech? And I'm like, try to get two people to do the same thing. There's artistry behind it. You can't.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Dana, did you want to add to that?
Well, I was just gonna say there's a conversation happening right now around like vibe coding, and there's a lot of, I follow a lot of like developer content, and there's a lot of developer memes of like me correcting the vibe coders content all day. So like there's this conversation happening of like people using the AI tooling, but like it's like running before you learn to walk. Like you didn't do the like C# tutorials or whatever. So like you're using vibe coding to make C# code, but like it's a mess now, and somebody has to like go back and fix it. I think like in the future you won't be able to tell. Like pretty soon vibe coding is going to get so good that like you don't really need to like walk before you run. But I think there's an interesting conversation happening around like I feel like we've the three of us have been like hovering around it, where it's like you are a like true expert in this field, and so like you're using AI as a tool to like enhance your process. But I think like eventually you're not gonna need to be an expert. Like you will basically be like a curious person who's interested in this thing, and you can use AI to like create. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Pedro froze for a second. He was thinking very deeply.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm a romantic, so even when I talk to ChatGPT, I always write like, "Hi ChatGPT, how are you?"
Oh my God, same. We
always say
all the time.
If the robots are coming for us, we are not first on the list because we're very nice to our robots.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, we have to be polite, digitally,
always,
physically, everywhere, always. So
it's good practice. Like we said, like we're practicing your self-esteem, you're practicing everything. Like we practice our manners with our robots.
Yeah, and then thanks and no thank you. And or
exactly. I also say great job. That was a great response.
Yeah.
Like I'm giving you all the hype.
To me, AI is just like an ally. I mean, it's like, it's not like just a tool. It's like this like creative like partner that helps me.
Yes.
Create. I mean, that's why I say I'm a romantic. It's like, so when I see like all this like tag against like AI in general, it's like, come on. I mean, you can use all this energy and focus it on another thing, right? I mean,
so given. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, it is an interesting, like, human. I think it's a very like human response, because I feel like we've had like previous moments in history, like you brought up Photoshop. Like I think, you know, for the craft of photography, people thought was under attack because of Adobe. So like we've had moments in history before where like there was a technology and it was coming into a specific category to like try to innovate and make that category easier. And the people that used to own that category were saying like, oh, how dare you? Like, this is our craft. So I think it's a very human response people are having to like freeze up and be like, but this is the thing that makes me special. Like, I'm the one that owns this.
Canva for designers, like that was
100%.
the same.
Yeah,
it was like, there is still, I use Canva, and we still have fantastic designers that I go to when I need a good designer. Like, it didn't make good designers disappear in any way, shape, or form. And I think that'll be the same with, fashion designers. It'll be the same with wearable creators. It'll be the same with scene creators. Like, there are still people that are just the best, and you'll still be going to them.
Curiosity is key. I mean, if you're a designer, if you're a creator, if you are just able to use AI, why not? I mean, curiosity is important. And good thing is that many of the people who attend like Metaverse Fashion Week tonight, they all are really curious. So if you can inspire people, and if you can inspire others just to be open to experience more things, I mean, AI, it's not like you are going to get married with AI forever and ever, and you have to use it forever in your work. It's just like maybe just try and explore, and maybe just not to attack, only attacking. Just it's like you can explore and you can use it. Right.
And I know we're coming up on time, so I wanted to end with a question we started with, but we didn't get to it. Of just like,
I had a follow up to Pedro.
Do you want to do your follow up quick?
Well, I was just going to say, like, I think what Pedro is saying about curiosity is really important, because I think like we want a world where, like, because you're curious about something, like, you can explore that thing, So like, I think it's really important to like keep talking about how like there's actually a benefit at the end of the day to being able to like have a co-pilot who like has the knowledge of the world, and like if you're curious about something, this co-pilot can help you figure it out. Like, that's really beautiful. So I think that's something that I like want more people. I love that Pedro brought up curiosity, because I think it's gonna like we want a more curious world.
And it's important. And I don't know if you are in a relationship, but even when you date someone, if that someone is not curious, I mean, it's just too boring. It's like, come on. I mean, I'm not exploring AI, but if you don't have curiosity to explore a park, a museum, like new music, like to get to know something or someone like deeply, I mean, it means that you maybe are empty. So good thing is that most of the attendees, or I think everyone here tonight, you all were like brave enough to have curiosity and to jump into the Decentraland and to try on like these garments and digital experiences, because why not? And that why not maybe just brought a great community. So that's super important to point out.
I love the why not. That's so great. We're gonna keep bringing that back up throughout the community of why not. So my question was, as we kind of wrap this up, how do you see and envision the role of AI evolving in fashion specifically, knowing where we're at today? And obviously we know something's gonna come up that's gonna blow our mind and change this completely. But like, where do you kind of see it going based on what your day-to-day is looking like?
Well, I see more creatives using AI to enrich image direction, especially campaign development and immersive brand experiences. And tomorrow, actually, an exhibition dedicated to AI in art is opening here in Paris. And I mean, it's just too good and too great to know and to see how like the presence of AI in cultural and artistic like institutions, right? Because maybe last year or maybe 2 years ago, that would be like something like against the arts world or maybe the culture thing, right? But today that we are like facing, we are experiencing like these kind of exhibitions in real, like in these like amazing like buildings, right? Dedicated to arts and culture. I mean, it speaks about the evolution of not only AI and digital tools, but also the society itself. So I think that's also something really important to point out, the fact that how like the physical world, it's really funny because web3 people always like make this like thing that, oh, it's the physical world or digital world. Well, how people in the physical world here are embracing new technologies, and that open doors to people, to creators, uh, to show and that inspires them to create and to tell them that you're not crazy, you're not alone, you're not like and you're just like there in your room, your studio, working with AI, and no one cares. No, many people care, and there's always a space in digital and also physical. But you have to be like really like aware again that this digital you should be like coherent enough just to tell the world who you are. So I think that's really important, not only in fashion or film, but whatever you do. So yeah, to keep like true to yourself.
I love that. And such a good note to end on. Pedro, thank you for bringing all of your expertise, hanging with us, vibing with us in Decentraland. I see the community is, a bunch of them have now put their spider legs on, so everyone's having a good time.
They're saying spider gang.
Your tribe is here. And everyone listening, thank you for joining. This is day 2 of Metaverse Fashion Week. We have 2 more days to go. Go to MVFW.org. You can download Decentraland and jump in. We're excited to see the digital identities that you all create. I will be back on here tomorrow. So thank you everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you, Gigi, for the invitation. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Yes, thank you.